In this video, you'll learn what to expect before and during your Florida workers' comp deposition. If this is your first time to my channel, my name is Domenic Celeste, the virtual accident attorney. I'm based in Palm Beach County, Florida, and I represent those injured on the job in workers' compensation and due to the fault of another in personal injury. This channel is all about answering your questions and giving you tips relating to Florida workers' compensation and personal injury law. Now before we get into the video, I have to show you this disclaimer, so just hold tight. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, before we get into what to expect before and during a deposition, what even is a deposition? A deposition is a time and place for the work comp attorney to ask you questions, to see what you know, to hear your side of the story, and ultimately, to see how you might testify in court. Now that you know what a deposition is, what can you expect before the deposition? The first thing that you can expect is to coordinate a date, time, and place for the deposition to occur. Your deposition can occur either live in person, by video, or by phone. After your deposition is scheduled, either you or your attorney, if you have one, will receive a notice of deposition, which just lays out all the details of the depo, and also a subpoena ducis tecum, which asks you to produce certain documents. And these are documents that are relevant to questions that you might be asked in your deposition. Your attorney will prepare you for the deposition by going over different questions that you might be asked and how to answer the more important ones, and also going over documents that you might be asked about. And the last thing that you should know about what to expect before your deposition is that you have to go. Because if you don't, the judge will ask why, and if you don't have a good enough excuse, your claim could be dismissed. Alright, so now you know what to expect before your deposition, but what can you expect during your deposition? The people in attendance at your deposition are obviously you and your attorney if you have one, work comp's attorney who will be asking all the questions, and someone called a court reporter who's typing down everything that's said. Before your deposition begins, you have to swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth under penalty of perjury. The majority of the deposition is the work comp attorney asking you questions and you providing answers. If you're interested in learning about all the different questions that you might be asked in your deposition, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I release that video. Your deposition can last anywhere from 30 minutes to multiple hours, but in my experience, they usually only last around 2 hours. The length of your deposition can depend on a bunch of different things, like what are the issues, defenses, and who's the defense attorney. Your attorney's role is mostly just to take notes, but also to make objections that might be necessary for the record. And even if your attorney makes an objection, you'll still be required to answer in most circumstances, unless it's something that's attorney-client privileged or that your attorney has instructed you not to answer. At some point, you might be asked questions about certain documents that you have to review and then authenticate. And when the deposition's over, you'll be asked whether you want to read or waive reading the deposition transcript. And what this is basically you have the opportunity to read the transcript to make sure the court reporter typed down all your answers correctly. It doesn't mean that you can change any answers though. Now that you know what to expect before and during your deposition, here are a few more tips that I think you should know. You need to just assume that work comp has already hired an investigator to follow you around. So if during your deposition they ask any weirdly specific questions, just assume it's probably something they got on video. Also be sure not to bring or refer to any documents during your deposition unless your attorney tells you to. This is important because if you refer to any documents during your deposition, the other attorney will probably make it part of the record. When you're asked a question, don't guess at the answer. If you don't know or don't remember the answer, say, I don't know or I don't remember. Also make sure that you're presentable. Presentation is important because when you go to court, a lot of times it comes down to credibility. And the more presentable you look, the more credible the judge might find you. I always tell my clients to wear something like they would wear to a nice restaurant or to church. And the last tip you should know is if you're giving your deposition by video, you need to be in a quiet and clear room. What do I mean by quiet and clear? Quiet means that you need to be alone and that there's no one else around. Clear means that there's nothing on the walls, nothing on the tables around you, just a blank space. And the reason this is important is because the other attorney might see something and then ask you questions about it. So as you can see, Florida workers' compensation law can be really complex, and this video has only just scratched the surface of that complexity. Remember, you can't do this alone. You need to hire an attorney that's licensed to practice law in Florida and that handles workers' compensation cases, represents real clients, goes to court, that knows what they're doing. And if you or someone you know were injured on the job or due to the fault of another, give me a call any time of the day or night. I have a 24/7, 365 receptionist, or you can go to my website and schedule a free consultation, or you know what, just text me, 561-935-3822. But that's it for this video. If you got value out of it or if you learned something, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. If you have a question, leave me a comment below and I'll try and answer it. To stay updated, like and follow all my socials, or if you want to learn more about me, my firm, Florida Workers' Comp, or personal injury law, just go to my website, virtualaccidentattorney.com. But that's it for now. Again, my name's Domenic Celeste, the Virtual Accident Attorney. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.